let's make a run test. That's useful in sales as well. Before you do something with customers to check if it's working. Looks great. So, quick introduction. My name is Andrea, as just mentioned when presenting it, and I've been at Fortumo for 8 years. So during this time at Fortumo, I've been dealing with multiple activities. So managing teams, doing sales, but at the same time, I have been lucky enough, or unfortunate enough in some cases, to deal with some of the biggest companies in the world in terms of customers. And here, when they invited us to participate and to speak, I think the angle was interesting because fundamentally we can, what I wanted to do as well was to share a bit of experience and go over something we did from a perspective of a company, maybe based in a country that is, let's say, less fancy than San Francisco or London, from an IT perspective, but at the same time, being able to get certain customers, to get certain contracts, and to grow in a certain way. So, where I want to start? I want to start maybe backwards. So, let's actually start from where we are today. Today, we can say that Fortumo is a pretty successful company. So, we have a big team. So it's a company that is based in Tartu, just as a background. Fortumo is based in Tartu as a headquarter. We have offices in Tallinn as well, of course, with a growing team in there as well. But it started from a rather smaller place in, if we take the global economy. What we are doing, I don't know if anybody knows what Fortumo is doing. We're not maybe on a, as a brand, maybe as known as Piper, but does someone know what Fortumo is doing? Who wants to give a shot and say what we're doing?
Mobile payments.
Exactly, that's where we started. And we're getting there. So that's where we started. We started with mobile payments. So letting people to pay for something convenient from one side, and letting as well companies, publisher, digital providers and so on, to monetize through mobile payments. Today we are doing something else, and we are getting there. So today we actually do mobile payments, but at the same time we have a round of services. So we are not anymore a single product company, but we have a round of services around the telcos on one side and big brands. We can call them big brands, the ones that you can see, and digital providers. So these are some of the companies we are working with. So we just did put Amazon, Spotify, Google, Epic, OLX. At the same time, we have some other few small brands like Electronic Arts, Deezer, and so on, that I haven't been putting, Viber, Rakuten, and so on. I didn't put them, but Tencent, I always forget Tencent, that is a small company based out of China. They're doing pretty nice. So, a few words regarding Fortumo today. We have been scaling a lot. So today we have a team that is more than 80 people. We keep growing, we keep hiring, especially in Estonia. It's our hub, and it's a place where we are investing the most. And one thing actually that I wanted to mention is why we managed to get these brands and why we are where we are today. It's because we have strong people. We have a very strong team. So most of the people at Fortumo have been for a very long time. And we tend, in terms of competence and skills, we really want to nurture and to grow the talents that we have. That has been, honestly, one of the key strengths that we have been having. We have also offices, so we are based here, but we have offices in Asia, United States, Europe, other countries in Europe, and so on. And to be honest, vast majority of our business, except perhaps if you try to pay for something on Google Play, in, I don't know, with Elisa or with Telia, most of our business is outside of Estonia. A few points. So, just to give an idea of the size, we are even more probably today, we are processing more than 2 million payments every day. So, last year, our partners have been able to generate in terms of sales, revenues, and so on, more than 160 million euros. So that's just to give a bit of the scale of the business and the environment where we are. As a part of the Underdog part, we are doing it from here, from Tartu. While most of our competitors are actually based in, I see, I saw it. Okay, perfect. Just to conclude as well, as a note, in July actually the company, there was some changes in the structure and the ownership of the company, and we became part of an even bigger group. So Boetti Group is actually the biggest company providing mobile payments, what is called carrier billing in the world, and we were able in this way to add a couple of brands that we didn't have yet in our portfolios, that are Apple and Netflix as well. But yes, main question is, how did we actually get to the point where we are? So it doesn't happen overnight, and we have been taking 13 years. The company started in 2013, and took a bit of work through it. So clearly, technologies, market, and so on have been hugely changing throughout the time. When Fortumo started 13 years ago, our focus was one product: to provide people and companies, we call them merchants, one payment method through SMS technology. Well, market has been changing. In most of emerging markets, people are not paying anymore through SMS. At the same time, they're using their phone to pay for additional services. So it moved. So throughout the time, actually, there is a sort of route that we had to take. We started with premium SMS, so older technology. Then actually, Facebook games were extremely popular 10 years ago. Then at a certain point, Facebook decided that they didn't want anybody else to manage payments. So they decided to shut down company and service providers like we are. Nokia did the same, so there were payments through Nokia store. Then there was Android. We launched the first Android SDK. Back in the days, Rovio was the biggest brand. We were working with them. Then one morning, Google, that is one of our greatest partners, decided that it wasn't a good idea to let someone else making the payments. So Google decided that we had to not to be supported anymore. Windows Phone, which to be honest wasn't the greatest success story of all, and then we moved where we are today. So supporting Google over-the-top services, as they're called, parking, publishing, and so on. So more advanced services if we take it from a consumer perspective. So one key point here that I wanted to mention is, from any company that is active in IT or in general in the market, it is very important to be very capable to read the market, to react to changes, and to adapt. Because some external event, for example, Facebook shutting down non-Facebook managed payment, Google doing the same 3-4 years later, and so on, some external event might happen. And when we are not able to forecast or to have alternative revenues way, alternative products, we seriously risk to have our survival and being in the business affected through it. And as well, that's one of the reasons why throughout the time we moved from being a single product company, we were only doing mobile payments. Today, for example, I think now it's pretty popular. I don't know if anybody has seen the new Borat movie. I don't know if someone had the pleasure to see it. It's definitely a masterpiece. That is distributed through Amazon Prime. Amazon is doing a lot of partnership with telcos or other companies, which are called bundles. And in 15-20 countries, actually, we are managing them. So when people are subscribing to their telco and so on, everything is managed by us, which is another product that we created and built up from scratch. But yes, so the main question why, so that was just to give a little bit of historical excursus and where we started and how we got to the place. But the big question is, in the end of the day, how did we actually do it? So what does really help to talk to these companies? To be honest, some answers are pretty obvious, and I have to say that the thing that helps the most is creating a strong team and working harder. Sounds stupid, sounds obvious, but if you work harder than your competitors do, or sometimes you feel the pressure more than your London or San Francisco competitors do, I have to say it helps as well. But besides that, which are sort of intangible elements, definitely there are a few points which I honestly can say that in our case, or in general, as a business can be working, and everything starts with a product. So there must be a very good fit between the products that you're selling in the market and the customer and the markets you're planning to target. So that's honestly the first thing. And you need to have, we need to have as well, a vision for what we're building. So when we start working on a product, when we start creating a project and so on, yes, we are doing it today, we need to plan step by step, but we need to have a vision where we want this product, this market, this segment, to be in 1 year, in 3 years, and possibly even in 5 years. So how it can help us in making clear in front of us where we want to go. Said that, I have to be honest, you can also screw up. So sometimes you can create a strategy, create a product and plans, and then suddenly the market changes, or simply the product, and the situation is not the right one. So at the same time, you need in some cases as well to be in the right place at the right moment. That I have to be honest, in cases like with Amazon or Spotify, in certain cases, there can be a small trigger that is being in the right place at the right time or with the right proposition, and that's something that is very important. Being visible, that's a part of marketing and communication, relation as well. Being visible in front of the partners we really want to work with. But yes, so one question that I've been thinking as well when preparing the presentation is, so we are a small company, we want to approach a pretty big company, let's say an Amazon or a Tencent, gigantic corporations. So what are we selling to them? That is one of the main things that we need to think as well, before even approaching them, how we are going to approach them, and what is idea or what we are going to sell them. And I feel that there are some pretty obvious replies to such a question. So the typical replies is, well, we have a certain product, we are going to sell the products that we have to these companies. Pretty obvious, makes perfect sense, and nothing wrong with that. Also, another situation is where a customer, a big company, a corporation is using a service or a product we have, and we simply want to sort of take over somebody that is already the main provider or the partner of the company. And these are very reasonable approaches and they make perfect sense. But they might not be enough. So when we really want to get into certain projects, we need to prove ourselves, and we need sometimes to give them more. So we need to make clear, and that has been something we try to do as well. Let's say sometimes successfully, sometimes less. We need to prove the value that we are able to create for the partner we want to work with. It's not just the matter of price. War prices are something that they never recommend, and in the end they're just destroying the market. But we need to create a value, or we need to solve a problem that our partner have today, or will have if they don't do something that we are actually going to propose. And as well, in some cases, we need to be able to show to the partner what is the vision and what is the story that we want to provide. So I will make an example later on, an example of some of the story, the value we try to propose. We don't want to propose a technical solution or a payment solution. We want to propose something more. So, something else that sometimes I believe we felt, and I've seen typical for a startup, is how to deal with a product. So, what to do? It's a sort of paradoxical question. So, should we develop the product, get it ready, perfectly functioning, and then go to market? Or sometimes we need to do the other way around. First, we go to the market, we understand what is a need, we try to actually even sell it, and then we build the product around it. So in our case, we have been using both approaches. Historically, probably we have been more, and I think that's one of the greatest things at Fortumo, we have been good enough in being able to go to the market, try to understand what the market was in need for, get a direct feedback from our customer, future customers, and so on, and then build the product. Because when you launch it, actually you're going to have a natural fit between the demand and the product itself. So my suggestion is always to look at how we can fill a need. Of course, it is great from a sales perspective. I'm a salesperson. It's lovely when I go to the market with a perfectly nice, working, and super tested product. It's amazing. But sometimes the product just is not right. It's not what I need. So it's really good. It's very important to have a ready product, but at the same time, before that, it's very good to actually go to the market and being open and understand what the market needs, and then start building. Of course, we need to be good as well in managing expectations. When the product is ready, can we test it? Have we already been testing it? But I think that's something that it's a fun of doing new products sometimes. And as well, an important thing. So today, so if we put it, so if you remember the slides I've been showing before, as Fortumo, sometimes, or as a company, we identify ourselves with the partners that we have been able to bring on board. So it's easy to say, Fortumo is working with Google, Amazon, and I don't know, Spotify. Yes, that's great, but what happens when you don't have them? So we have Amazon as a customer because we have been bringing on board Amazon. When you go to Amazon, you cannot just say that you have it. So we need to make a step backwards and sometimes to start thinking as well. And that's the part, very importantly. As sales and marketing, I honestly believe they really need to work together in creating a perception and awareness around the company as a proposition. So that we have been doing it, I can just mention what we have been doing it. We have been doing it in multiple ways. Sometimes building a sort of market expertise image around us. We have been creating, we have an amazing marketing. We have been creating dozens of reports, white papers, infographics, and frankly speaking, a lot of the companies, the leads we have been generating, even companies we are working with, they came in through some of the documentation and the data we have been able to put together. So that's something I would recommend not to consider as well. Being going on the market and creating an image through materials, even testimonials, smaller testimonials, but making sure that there is an awareness of what you're doing. And as well, using references. So we are using some companies as references today. We didn't have them before. When we didn't have Amazon, we were using Rovio. Now probably nobody remembers what Rovio is. But back in the days, it helps us perhaps to get some other companies in a certain segment. We didn't have Spotify, but we had, for example, smaller companies in Southeast Asia doing the same service. That in the markets are actually very well known. So exactly what I was saying here. Sometimes we don't have the references, so we need to actually be creative. In some cases, use the smaller references that we have, but as well, very importantly, we need to focus on the value. So when we still need to build the brand and so on, it's important to focus on the things that we can do extra value we provide to any of the partners we want to work with. And as well, we need to have a very strong story and the vision we are sharing with the partners. So that's the part I wanted to just give an example. So when we are approaching our customer, either it is a Tencent, an Apple, or a Netflix, and so on, we are not selling an IT solution. We are actually selling them we're selling from a sort of a marketing communication perspective. We're selling a story. We're selling them users. We are selling them revenues. We are selling them lifetime value. So basically, we try to understand what are the KPI, the metrics that they want to track, and we sell a story around it. So here are some examples actually from some of our marketing materials. And nowhere we sell just a technical solution. It's simpler to pay Spotify through Fortumo than it is to credit card. And we can offer more users. Then when we go to Indonesia, we have a lot of many users that Spotify can approach. And that was it. So really happy to get some questions. Thank you.